Perfect!
Welcome to another episode of the Open Mic Podcast.
Excellent!
With your host, Brett Allen.
Well, isn't that extra special?
Recorded live at Bay Area Studios. Join Brett each week as he interviews celebrities, influencers, authors, high-level entrepreneurs, and much more. At the Open Mic, no topic is off limits.
Giddy up.
And you never know who may stop by. Now, here's your host, Brett Allen.
Live, and I have a very special guest with me, Jonah Beres. Welcome into the show, my friend. It's great to have you.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, Jonah is best known for his role as Brant on Hulu's PEN15, which season 1 is currently streaming, and the second season of PEN15 premieres on Hulu September 18th. So the big question is how have you been during the lockdown, and what has been keeping you occupied, my friend?
I've been actually doing really good. Like, aside from all the drama outside of my house, I've been my little inside, just introvert guy playing video games and just chilling all the time. So
yeah,
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So now you're back to work now, right? You've already started filming the second season. Is that correct? Do I understand that correctly?
It's already all filmed.
Okay, so it's all completely done. So
Yep.
what I know, when I was talking to your manager and your publicist, they said you are working on another project. Are you able to talk about that, or is that something that's like completely top secret?
I think it's kind of under wraps right now. So
Okay. So you
yeah.
are back filming though, right? If I understand correctly, you're working on something.
Yeah.
So very cool. Now that you're back and you're on set again, what is the climate like as far as having to follow new rules for production and that sort of thing? What has that experience been like for you? How is it different now than it was before the pandemic hit?
I actually haven't started yet. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so have they gone over a lot of rules and things like that and kind of explained what to expect? So what is that going to be like? Is it going to be a lot of protocols and those sorts of things that you're going to kind of have to adjust to and that sort of thing?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Like limited people on set and stuff like that, I think.
So right now, I mean, before the pandemic, there could be as many as like 200 people on set at a time working on things, and now if you're not filming, you're locked away in a trailer playing video games. Is that gonna be kind of the vibe to keep you busy?
Yeah. It's a good one to have too.
Yeah. I guess it's probably one of better things than other things that you could be doing and that sort of thing. Well, let's talk about PEN15, because this is kind of a different show. It's kind of dark. It's kind of funny. It's not really like I binged watched the first season. It's a very different show. Why don't you explain to our listeners and viewers what PEN15 is all about exactly, and your character, Brant, in the show?
I think PEN15 is just about everyone's middle school experience, but it's basically just like a mockery of it. And because I feel like middle school is like a time when a lot of like kids took it really seriously and like thought everything was like super dramatic, and like, I don't know, they just thought that was like the whole world right then. And so like to have it kind of made fun of and like to watch it back is like always really funny for people.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I hated middle school. I'm 46, so there's like quite a difference in age between you and I, but I remember it not being so fun, at least for me. But this show is different, and it kind of just makes fun of it and sort of keeps it lighthearted, right? That's kind of the idea about it.
Yeah.
And I think the overarching theme is kind of, to have fun and not take yourself too seriously, right? Let's talk about your character, Brant, and his story, his arc in the show. For those who haven't seen it, who is your character all about, and how does he play out in the rest of this in my opinion, like wild and crazy storyline that you guys have going on.
I just think Brant is trying his best. You know, he's probably very insecure, and I don't know. He's trying his best. You know, he tries to crack jokes sometimes, and they don't always roll off the best. But I don't know. I guess he thinks he's funnier than other people think he is.
Yeah, I would say he kind of reminds me of one of those guys that like yeah, he thinks he's cooler and funny than he actually really is, and
Yeah.
sort of has this like odd perception of himself that he's kind of short-sighted a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
he thinks people see him like one particular way, but really people kind of see him a different way, right?
Yeah.
Now, in your experience as an actor, when you got the script and you auditioned for this, what was it that interested you about it and kind of made you go, I could do this and I could relate to this type of character?
Well, actually, when I auditioned for it originally, there wasn't like a Brent written in. There was just, or I'm not sure if there was. He was probably in the works or something, but there was just like the Sam, the main character with the two girls, and that's who I auditioned for. And so that, like, the script was really good for that, and like, it was really funny. It was like just like this cafeteria scene from the first season, and I just remember it being really funny and like, I don't know, just that, like those sides alone just got me excited for what I was in for. Basically all they told me before I like started filming and got my sides in like script and stuff like that was that the character's name is Brant. Like that's all I knew.
Well, I mean, just the name alone, Brant, is kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, this guy,
I'm in
come
for
on.
something.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I think knows a Brant in their life, right? Like I I'm just messing around, but
Definitely.
for real though,
No,
like
definitely.
there's always like I find when I talk to young actors like yourself who are super talented and have of such these kind of like interesting and eclectic type roles, and especially in these like coming of age types of stories, you know, where it's like this is like I would say not really like it's kind of kind of like art imitating life a little bit. Like it could be true, but it's also kind of like no way. But I think all of us who watch this show could walk away from it and go, you know, I can relate to this type of thing on some sort of level, right?
Yeah, for
Now,
sure.
how do you find yourself relating to this character? Because you don't strike me like him. I mean, maybe you are. I don't know, just because we're on film here. But like, how do you connect with the character and sort of bring your own stylization and choices to it? Because you guys obviously are both polar opposites, right?
Yeah. Well, like kind of as you said, like everybody does know a brand. Like everybody does know that kind of person. So like the way it was written, like I just totally got that sense, and I was able to just like, you know, make this persona that was just like kind of like a douchebag for everybody, and like nobody really likes. So everybody knows that person. Somebody has to be that guy. So
Do you find yourself like kind of like him sometimes? Like maybe there's obviously like positive things to him, right? Like he's not just a complete doofus, right? He's
yeah,
a smart kid, really. And I think maybe I don't know, I wouldn't use the word troubled, but just kind of like he's obviously overcompensating for something in his life. You know, whether it be relationship with friends or family or whatever the case might be. But do you find little pieces of Brant just in your own personality? Again, like I said, the positive types of things, and that sort of thing. If that question makes sense.
yeah, it does. I mean, I think sort of the positive things, but also like how sometimes he'll like crack jokes. It doesn't always hit. Like I think everyone can relate to that. Like trying to be funny and like everybody's just like it's not funny, dude. Like it totally ruins everything. Like so I don't know. Everybody's been through that, but Brant a little more than everybody else for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So interestingly enough, like, you've done a few different types of things. When you decided that you wanted to become an actor, like, how did that conversation play out with your family when you told them that this is something that you wanted to do? Were they supportive of it, or were they like, I don't know if this is a good idea and you should have like a plan B sort of thing?
Well, originally it was kind of like my mom just, when I was really, really young, started taking me out to like see plays and stuff just for fun. And then I like wanted to be in plays. So it wasn't anything like super like serious off the bat. Like, oh, I'm gonna move into Los Angeles. Like, I grew up in Seattle. Like, it wasn't super a big time at that point. But then like eventually when I started doing more plays and stuff and auditioned for one, um, some guy said, not some guy, the director of a play that I was in said that I should get like an agent or whatever. And then my mom was kind of like already hooked at that point, I guess. So she
Yeah,
was down
yeah.
for the ride.
Yeah, she's probably like, "Hey, if he can if he can have a successful run at this and, like, become famous someday, and that sort of thing." She's probably like 100% on it, right? Like, just kind of
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm completely down for whatever it is that he wants to do." Now, interestingly enough, this story obviously takes place in a middle school setting, but you just graduated, right, from high
Yeah.
school. So congratulations. How does that?
Thank you.
Yeah, how does that feel to be graduating, but in such an odd time, quarantine class? Like, how the heck did that work out? Did you like do it via Zoom, or what happened, my friend?
Actually, I lucked out. I went to a school where you could like get credits ahead and graduate early. I graduated 2 days after my birthday, so 2 days after I turned 18, and right before Corona hit. So right before the Zoom classes were about to start.
Well, you dodged a bullet there,
I
dude. I
know
tell
I
you,
dodged a
like,
big one.
yeah, no, because like homeschooling, like, is one thing, but schooling like on a computer
It's
or
so
whatever,
weird.
it's really weird. My son, who's a lot younger, he's 6, we did
Oh my lord.
homeschooling via computer and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, it was like a trip, dude. It was
Yeah.
not like one of these things that I would I would wish on anybody. And I think too, part of your age and stuff is kind of the experience of having friends and being able to just be able to kind of do what you want to do. Now, I
Yeah,
want
for
to ask
sure.
you, we talked about early on in the interview that you like to play video games and that sort of thing. So when you're not working as an actor and you're not filming, like, what is your, because I know, kind of as a caveat here, you kind of keep your professional life and your acting life separate. Like, they don't really blend together, right?
Yeah.
You keep your personal life personal, which I think is cool because that way it keeps you protected, but also it keeps probably a lot of people out of your business.
Yeah.
Is it hard to have friends? I guess my question is it hard to have friends as an actor? Do they treat you differently, or do they just treat you the same and you can just kind of hang out with people and it's not really a big deal, Jonah?
Sometimes like I do feel that like it's a little awkward, like I don't know. Like when the first season of PEN15 came out, it was a little weird for me to have like people that I knew being like acting different like that. Like, oh, you're in this show. Like, it just felt weird having like attention from people that I never really had attention from before.
Really,
So I was
really.
always just kind of like a little fishy about that. But I've always been the type of guy to have a really tight circle, anyways. Like I've never been like hanging out with a ton of people. So I just kind of hang out with like 3 or 4 people, and those people are like so close to me they wouldn't really care, like treat me different. Like the people that I'm close to didn't even really like care about the show that much
They're just
or
like,
watch it.
whatever, dude, come
Yeah,
over
they're like, I'm
here.
glad you're
And
acting, and like, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch it.
well,
I don't
I
really
think,
care.
yeah, that's crazy, and that's cool though that they don't, that you keep a tight circle,
Yeah,
and you have people around. You have to have people around you that you can trust, right? Like, that's really, I think, probably the biggest thing, because you don't want people asking you, oh, can you introduce me to this person from the show or that person from the show?
yeah, exactly.
And you talk about unwanted attention. I want to kind of explore that a little bit further, man, and talk about, so you like, you were acting for a while, right? And then you get PEN15,
Hmm.
which puts you on like this scope of celebrity, so to speak, where your people can literally turn their television on like back here, and there's Jonah on the big screen. Um, was there a lot of teasing involved, or was it more of just kind of like, you know, just asking a lot of questions and it just kind of got exhausting for you a little bit, maybe?
I wouldn't really say it was exhausting. It was just like, I don't know. People would just be like, I don't know. Like it would be random. Like people would be watching like TV with their family, and then they would just like take a picture of me and be like, "Oh my god, it's like Jonah!" Like send it to me. And so that was just like sometimes just a little weird because you know someone in personal life, and like a lot of the time, like they don't know I'm an actor. You know, like so they're just like, "What the hell?" Like it doesn't make any sense to them. So that's why I feel like it's a little like awkward at times. But yeah,
Yeah. And of course, your parents probably don't treat you any differently at all,
no,
right?
not at
There's
all.
like, there's no celebrity in this house. It's
Take
like
out
you
the
got to
trash.
take out the trash, do your homework.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this because you're so young and so smart. Do you intend to do you want to go to school and college and continue your education? Not to put you on the spot, but is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, it
um,
is for sure.
it is, yeah. Is there a particular area that you want to study, or do you want to do acting and film and that sort of thing?
I want to study film and directing and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. Like, I think it's just like you've accomplished so much at such a young point in your life, and really the sky is the limit. So obviously you've got PEN15, you're working on another project. What are some dream collaborations or dream projects that you would like to get your hands on and do?
Um, let's see. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
A dream collaboration at this
Like what
point.
kind, like, yeah, like at this point, or maybe like a type of movie you would like to make other than a comedy or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there another type of form of cinema that you would like to maybe do other than like a dark comedy, maybe like action or a romance? Is anything
Yeah.
like that interest you at all?
Probably like I don't know, something like an art house film or something. Like something that's just really kind of bizarre and meaningful or something cuz I just want to like have myself as an actor that's like in kind of more like real grounded things rather than like sitcom that kind of thing. So like I don't know, anything to like separate me would be like really phenomenal.
Yeah, something maybe that's not normal that you would normally do that would kind
Yeah,
of like shape you as an actor.
take me
Like,
out of my comfort zone a little bit.
yeah, like maybe like an independent film, like Shia
Exactly.
LaBeouf, like those types of movies
Yeah.
where, as crazy as he is, but I think he's really talented. You know, like
Yeah,
as
for
far as
sure.
like some of the things that he has done. Have you watched a lot of his work? Do you have like actors and actresses that you look up to and kind of stylize yourself after?
A lot of like older actors from like older movies and stuff like that, and like directors from films like that. But yeah, I think Shia LaBeouf is really talented. Like I watched Honey Boy, and that was a really good movie in
Yeah,
theaters.
yeah.
Like yeah, so I don't know, stuff like that for sure is like right down my alley.
Well, even like The Tax Collector, his most recent film was very interesting. So I have to ask, when you say older, like what do you mean by, because I'm old, what do you mean what do you mean by older, like in the 80s, the 90s, or
Yeah, like
like,
60s,
oh, the
70s, 80s,
60s.
'90s, like
So okay.
everything goes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm teasing you. So it's, when you say older, you mean like
just
older.
not yeah, like past like 20 years ago, basically. I
Okay.
guess.
Do you have any favorite films that stand out in your mind that you kind of like the most?
Um, that's a good one. Hmm. Uh, I like Storytelling by Todd
Okay.
Solondz.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's a great callback.
Yeah.
Um, very cool. Very cool. So you've kind of are going back to work, and you've got PEN15 season 1 and 2 that's coming out, kind of looking back at your career that you've had, would there be anything that you might do differently that might change kind of what you've done to this point, or would you do everything the same?
I don't know. I feel like I always try and do everything different, you know.
Okay.
I never want to stay like the same in anything.
Really? You just kind of want
I
to
feel like
keep
it's best to always try and change it up.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I love what you're doing, and I think PEN15 is great, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you and
Thank
what
you,
you're
man.
going to do next. Yeah, absolutely. Last question for you, my friend. If there was any piece of advice that you could give someone else or a younger version of yourself that you wish somebody would have given you when you started out, what would that be?
I would just say, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've had pretty good advice from my mom, but I would say to any other young actor, just like keep trying and don't take rejection. Like, don't take rejection hard at all, because it comes across all the time as an actor. You just go on auditions, get rejected, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I'm kidding, but I
No,
don't
that's
know.
a very good
Basically, yeah.
it's a good point though, right? Like it's a luxury problem. Like you're just happy to be in the room, right? Like that's
Yeah,
a big deal,
exactly.
dude.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
like there's probably a billion bajillion actors who are in the same position as you who would kill to get a story arc on a streaming show on a platform that's not like a series television show, you know, that's going to come and go, but it's going to live on forever on Hulu, and maybe one day if it goes somewhere else to another platform. But that's a good, you know, you get what you get. That's not wrong at all, because you know you've got one life to live. You live it to the best of your ability,
Yeah.
and that's really what it comes down to, right? Like there's no I wish. So now that brings up another question in my head about rejection. Like, and then we'll wrap up here. How do you deal with rejection? Like you talk about it, it's going to happen. Like it's a 1 in a million% chance to get something, and even more so to get what you've gotten.
Yeah.
How do you deal with rejection, Jonah? How does Jonah Beres deal with rejection when it comes to auditions, and how do you take that and turn it around to something better?
For me, like, I don't know, my personality is just kind of like always been that way. Like, never like take things too serious. But with auditions, like, it's always just been kind of, I've done so many. I've been doing it since I was like 8, basically. So, like, it's always just kind of been like set it and forget it. Like, I don't know. And then when I hear back something, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, from them. Like, you know, like it's not something that's like I'm just always waiting on like every day. Like, I want, like, when are they gonna email me back? Because if I had that on my mind about every audition, I'd be driving myself crazy.
Oh yeah, like I would imagine like you do it and like that's it, right? You just, and if you don't ever hear back, you don't ever hear back,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And if you do, well that's great.
Yeah,
And I've also heard, you know, that if the casting director keeps calling you back, that's a good thing, right? Cuz you've
yeah,
booked that part. You may not have gotten the role necessarily that you wanted, but at least you got that, and that's a
yeah,
big deal.
exactly. They like you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I love you, dude. You're the best, Jonah. If people
Thank you,
want
man.
to, yeah, if people want to follow you on social media or connect with you in that sort of way, how can they do that?
You can go on my website at jonahberes.com, and then you can follow me on Instagram at yupwet, YUPWET.
Very cool. And we have been chatting with the super talented Jonah Beres, PEN15 actor. His character is Brant, and it can currently be seen on Hulu streaming. Season 2 drops here in just a couple weeks. What's going to happen to Brant? That's the big question. Dun dun dun. Brant, thanks for joining me on the Open Mic Podcast Live. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. I'll see you.